Good afternoon. We will be, as you notice, we will be recording today's discussion, and we will be taking questions in the chat, but we're going to wait till the end to answer them. As a reminder, please turn off your audio and video so that we can more clearly hear our special guest today. Today's webinar is hosted by the Florida Horticulture for Health Network and the Mid-Atlantic Horticultural Therapy Network. My name is Collie Turner. I am a therapeutic horticultural practitioner, and I'm the founder and executive director of the veteran service organization Heroic Gardens. And I have the pleasure of chatting with you a little bit about our two organizations and then introducing our incredible guest today. So really quickly, if you're not familiar with the Florida Horticulture for Health Network, they use several platforms to share information and education. And there they are. There's their information. You can check out their website and their Facebook page. Consider subscribing to the network. Monthly e-blasts are available. They're sent to subscribers about upcoming webinars and educational information such as today, horticulture information, and other interesting events that they have going on. The Mid-Atlantic Horticultural Therapy Network is a group of practicing and aspiring horticultural therapy practitioners who are avidly and actively dedicated to expanding acceptance of horticultural therapy as a recognized therapeutic and rehabilitative discipline. So our two organizations are absolutely 100% thrilled to be here today. So before I introduce today's speaker, I just want to say I saw her present at the AHTA conference last October, and when I was asked to volunteer for this, I was like, yes, I must. The word that just keeps popping into my head is energy, and so lucky for everybody today because you have a treat. Jazmin Albarran, MBA, is the Seed Your Future Executive Director with over a decade of change and systems management experience. With a solid knowledge of associations and philanthropy, she brings her skills and expertise in planning, leading, and managing development projects and programs to the movement. She has experience in a broad range of nonprofit organizations, including those focused on crisis support, youth development, and workforce development. Jazmin will lead Seed Your Future's next phase of growth, promoting horticultural sectors and the nationwide expansion of career development opportunities, all with plants. Please give a warm welcome to Jazmin.
Holly, thank you for that introduction. I really appreciate it. And I'm excited to be here sharing about Seed Your Future and our resources. So a little bit about me. As mentioned, my background is in mental health and youth development. I had no idea the world of horticulture exists the way that it does. And so it's been fun trying to find people like me that had a passion and love plants, but would have never envisioned themselves in this industry. I thought I was going to be a psychologist. That was the path. But it has been going in different directions, and it's been fun. I've been here. I had to learn a lot about horticulture. It was a steep learning curve, but the industry was so kind and so helpful. They went out of their way to make sure that I understood the different segments, different careers, logistics within the industry, because knowing that Seed Your Future is creating resources to bring this industry in front of middle school, high school, college, CTE, university students, educators, parents, and even career changers, right? The more that I understood the industry, the better I could then position Seed Your Future to do all the work that we are doing and in partnership with organizations and people like you all. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Seed Your Future, our resources, some of those key partners you could be thinking about collaborating with, and then we'll open it up to some questions. Let's go into about us, and always giving a shout out to our donors who are those companies that are invested in workforce development within the hort industry and see the value of supporting Seed Your Future so that we do the work, right? We're doing the work for them. We're doing the work to make sure that there is the pipeline of future employees for this industry because they need from the growers to the marketing to those in logistics to the work that you are doing, right? All of these are important roles. And so Seed Your Future was created to increase the labor pipeline for the horticulture industry. Our mission is to promote and inspire people to pursue careers working with plants. And we envision a world where everybody understands and the value of plants and is aware of all those promising careers within the art, the science, the technology. And I always remind people the business of horticulture. This is a business, it's not just a hobby. So you'll hear me say that over and over again because we want to be ingrained in that you are all professionals and we want to make sure that those parents, those students, those educators are aware of that. Opening up with just some information about that labor shortage. We have about 39% of careers that go unfilled every single year just because of the lack of awareness. That that lack of people understanding what all those careers are, what they look like, what are the salary ranges, how do you get to that job, what is the path to go right into the industry versus going into higher education. And so you all, you are ambassadors. I'm calling you all to be connecting with all those audiences around you, making them aware of your profession, what it looks like, how you get it, to bring more of that next generation into these roles. Seed Your Future was started by three horticulture professionals and professors within the industry that realizing not enough students were coming into their higher education program, so the bachelor's, the master's, the PhDs, and realized there would be an issue along the line if there weren't enough of those people coming into the industry. And they said we can either keep talking about it or we can do something. And so they went to the American Society of Horticultural Science conference, talked to industry professionals, and through some research, Seed Your Future was born. So phase one of the research was talking to industry and asking, what are those issues with labor? Why can't you find them? What kind of help do you need? The second phase was a telephone survey across the country asking the general public if they knew what the word horticulture meant and what are the perceptions of the industry. And they were a little bit negative, and we'll talk about those in a minute. And then phase three was asking students, do you know what the word horticulture means? And how do you want to learn about careers in the industry? So then all those years of research then created Seed Your Future. And we start working with middle school students because that's the age when they really have to start thinking about who they want to be when they grow up. But that can't be the only touch point, right? You have to have resources for them when they're in high school, college, university, and so on. And so you'll see our resources kind of follow along that timeline, and then also resources for career changers. Because we were started through a lot of research, we have been ongoing in doing that. So we have a horticulture salary and benefit survey that we started in the fall of 2022 because of the perception that all the jobs in this industry are low paying, and they're not. And so we wanted to get a better picture of what that was. We have the results from that on the website, and we are starting another one this year, so 2025, trying to gather new data, more information. So I'd love for all of you all to participate in that survey for us to benchmark what that looks like. We did an internship survey asking current students if did you do a internship, yes or no? Was it paid, yes or no? If you didn't do one, what would motivate you to do one? Universities, college, do you require those? Industry, businesses, do you require them, yes or no? And then the idea is that we're going to gather all that data and then create templates. One for students, this is how you prepare and show up for your internship. Industry, this is how you set up or bolster an internship you might already have to offer. And then universities, colleges, this is how you establish an internship and partner with local businesses to have that pipeline for those students. And then we also, every 5 years, check in with the enrollment at the 2-year and 4-year horticulture programs across the country to see, right, is it going up? Is it going down? Is it baseline? And so in 2019, was the highest 10-year record for enrollment in horticulture programs across the country. So that's great. That was even before the pandemic, which the pandemic actually brought new light to plants, right? And that value of what they are. We saw anywhere from 16 million to 18 that found plants for the first time because they were stuck at home and they needed a place, a way to make their homes more beautiful, right? And welcoming. And so all that data is on the website. That QR code would take you to that information. I'm going to quickly touch on the impact of the horticulture industry, because again, people think this is just a hobby, and it is not. In the 2022, here are some numbers: 18.5 billion, up from that previous year. That's not just gardening in your backyard, right? That's a lot. These businesses are multi-billion-dollar businesses that are some local to the US and some are international. That same report was done in 2024, so we cannot wait to get that data hopefully this year to see what those numbers are for these years. Again, reminding everybody that horticulture is a business. It's not just a hobby that you do, right? That hobby component um, brings out the passion, teaches you how to do it, but it can lead into very fulfilling careers. And there are many different career paths within the industry. Again, that art, science, technology, and logistics, event planning, research, sales, communications, or cultural therapy, right? There are so many things that students do not realize, parents do not realize, educators do not realize exist. So it's up to all of us to get this information in front of them, right? So think about where you are. What are some of those horticulture businesses in your city, in your state, that you can work with, that you can partner and together work on that funnel for the industry? And when you're connecting with students, when you're connecting with career changers, when you're connecting with people around you, think about that passion that they have for solving a problem, what that looks like, and wanting to heal, wanting to help people heal through nature and through plants. That's a great way to help them see themselves as a professional in this career. Now I'm going to jump into the resources that we have that are free for any of you to use. And I'm always happy to connect with you one-on-one to talk through how you might be able to tailor the resources that we have for the audience that you are working with. I always like to share this slide that people recognize 1,000 different brands, but less than 10 plants in their local area. Again, we have a plant blindness. We take for granted the grass, the plants, the flowers that we see every single day, forgetting that we get oxygen from them, that they feed us, that they clothe us. So together we have to elevate that value of plants. Here are some of the misconceptions that we learned from that phase 2, that telephone survey I mentioned earlier. So people believe that this industry is not professional compared to being a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. They believe that all the jobs are low paying, that there is no upward mobility within the industry. And what they see, right, is the person cutting the grass, or they think of the farmer in overalls from like the 1950 and don't realize the amount of technology that this industry has. And so we have to create resources and show up in a way that these audiences are starting to understand how different the industry is and what they believe, how much more we have to offer. And again, the uniqueness of your role within this industry is a whole nother career that they don't even know exists as well. Seed Your Future, we're set apart because all we do is focus on horticultural careers. We want students to know horticulture industry is a career path, and here are the different things that we have. So for students, we have those interactive tools to give them an idea of a career based on their interests. The teachers are having to have conversations about careers in the classroom, but if they don't have the resources and if they don't understand horticulture, there's no way we can expect them to have those career conversations, right? So we're providing them the resources that they need. And then parents will talk their students out of coming into these industry careers because of those perceptions. So we have to make sure that they understand that this industry is professional, that it's a business, and what do those companies look like, so that they're more willing and likely to let their students come into this industry. And so how do we do it? We do it in a variety of ways. These are our 4 major goals that we have, and we have different tactics in how we get these things done. But building the awareness that favorable perception of what the horticulture industry is and the careers that we have. The workforce development piece, right? Increasing the number of skilled workers coming into the industry, the education, getting young people and teachers and parents excited about these careers. Students don't want to be at a 9 to 5. This Gen Z, they want to be a part of solving problems. They want to be a part of helping the planet, environmental changes that can be done through this industry with plants, right? We just have to make sure that we are aligning the work that we do, the knowledge that we have with those talking points that are important to this next generation. And then partnerships with you all, and doing this work together to get in front of more students across the country. This QR code will take you to these career exploration resources that I'm going to be sharing in a minute. And again, I'm always happy to connect with you all one-on-one, to work through how you can use them. We have a list of 147 different career profiles that list salary information. We link out to professional organizations someone in that career should be linked to. There is a video that describes the career, showing again the diversity that this industry has. We have a list of the 2 and 4 year college and universities that offer horticulture degrees, certifications, again, for those students that want to go into higher education. That career path is there, and we have those resources to get them into those schools. Once you get into school, well, you got to pay for it, right? So we have a database of scholarships to help offset the cost of higher education, so those 2 year and 4 year schools. And then we also have a database of internships from across the country. Once those students are in school, we want them in internships that freshman to senior year, right? We tell them, don't wait until your junior year or senior year. Start right away, getting connected with some of those potential professions you might be interested in. And so having that database that's broken down by state for those students that want to stay local, want to be able to travel. We are always thinking about how do we build these resources to make them very user friendly for industry, but then also for the students, teachers that are going to be using that. In conversation with college students, they told us, I don't know where to go to apply for a job other than Indeed. And so we found a list of 51 industry job boards that are on now our website where students can go and then look for jobs. So we're building the awareness of these are the careers, this is the industry, these are the tools, and then this is where you can go find that job. The plant power quiz, we created that quiz to give students an idea of careers they might be interested in based on how they take the quiz. Even if a student knows they love the outdoors, they love nature, they love plants, well, how does that equate to a job? How does that equate to me making money, right? And so that narrows that list of 147 down to about 10 different options for that student. And then it connects to that link of 147 careers. We also have a blog that talks about companies, their positions. We get testimonials from young people. How do they find their way into the industry? Again, showing students as many examples as possible, so they can find their way into the industry. And we have a YouTube channel with a variety of videos. We have this one I'll show you. Talks about the power of plants, right? There's in sports, in fashion, in our economy, on our mental health. We also have videos that talk about how horticulture are STEM careers. And then we have some DIY, like how to make plantable paper from recycled paper, lip balm, how to do tie-dye with fruits and veg. So check out the YouTube channel. And let me So short, fun, colorful, and a great way, again, just to use that in a presentation that you might be doing with students. Again, free resources for you to be able to use. We started a new career webinar series, again, having conversations with students saying, well, what are some things I can do with once I graduate with my degree? So we started this career series in October. And we've had one in February, March, and then we'll have one coming up in April, and then we will do 3 in the fall semester. we're having young professionals talk about what they did during college to secure a job, and then what are some of the things they did within their first 10 years, showing students that these career paths are not linear, right? You're going to bounce from one thing to another, which is great. And you can be talking to your boss in 10 years at a networking event. And so we're giving these students information and tools to prepare once they are coming into the workforce. And we've had 1,000 individuals register for these webinars, and those are middle school, high school, college students, professors, teachers, parents. So they've been very well received, and we are excited that they're doing so well. And we record the webinars and then we send them out to everyone that registered. We started an art contest to show again the different ways to come into this industry. And we had this one open in January, and we actually have the winner. So the bigger one is the first place, and then the one that looks you could see the green and then the buildings in the back, that was second place, and then the other one was our third place. This was high school art students that talked about the importance of horticulture in their world. These are not hort students. These are not ag students. These are art students. And so we were blown away by the level of connection that they had to plants. And most of them said, my grandmother or my aunt or, a mentor had me gardening, right? That exposure to the industry, to the plants, created a passion for them. And here you can see it in their art. So we were super excited to have this be the first year, and we're going to do it every year moving forward, just to show these art students that we can prepare them for the floral industry. We can prepare them for the graphic design careers, right? Again, tying that passion and that connection to careers in the industry. We have a database for educators because we know a lot of them want to start gardens. They want to start garden beds. They want to start maybe a greenhouse and don't have the resources. So if you are partnering with any educator, make sure that they're aware of this database so that they can go and apply. We had one teacher say that they got a $10,000 grant by using these resources that we have on the website. And so as we learned of new grants, we always get this updated, and we want it to be as thorough as possible for educators. So make sure that you are aware of this resource and share with any teacher or educator that you might be aware of. We have an initiative called Green Career Week that we started because industry was telling us we know we should be connecting with these students, but we don't know how. We don't know what to talk to them about. And so Seed Your Future created a toolkit that you can download for free, variety of pieces of information that tell you if you want to set up a field trip, think about these things, right? If you want to do a class presentation, make sure you do this. We do it twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. The upcoming dates are are October 6th through the 10th. I hope that you all will connect with the school and go and talk about horticultural therapy and what does it look like and what are the two variations of that and how do you work within the industry to educate these students on this profession. And so again, there's that field trip component. You can do a class presentation or you can just do social media posts. So talk about your story. Why did you come into this industry? Why did you choose this profession? And what does it mean to those that you are helping heal through plants? And then use the hashtag Green Career Week so these students can see, one, the industry, your passion, and then that connection to that potential career. So again, go to the website, download that toolkit, and plan your event this year. Last year, we started a new program called Seed to STEM because we know educators are the ones that know what their students are passionate about, but they don't necessarily know, again, what the industry looks like. And so we brought 25 high school science teachers from across the country to Indiana and gave them tours of different horticulture spaces. So they got to see horticulture at a museum, at a public garden, at a commercial greenhouse. They learned about plant protection. They learned about the floral industry. And then every one of those teachers created a lesson tying a high school science subject to a horticulture career. This year, we're going to be in Chicago, and this cohort is going to have math, art, English teachers, and we actually added technology and business teachers from across the country. So excited to have them coming together this June. They also will create lessons that will be on our website. Again, free download. Anyone can use them to talk about careers in the industry to those students within their curriculum. Now I'm going to go in talking a little bit about some of those partners that you can look out for within your local community to be able to work together and drive the mission of the industry. Collaborations, right? No one can do everything on their own. And if we do things together, more will be able to be done. So look at the growers that are around you, the retailers, the garden centers. Think about doing joint projects. There are many greenhouses, garden centers that are looking to connect with students and young people with disabilities, veterans, right? To just be able to bring some of that healing and use them as potential workforce. These are your clients. This is who you're working with. So connect with those garden centers and these businesses around you and see how you might be able to partner together to, again, bolster the industry, but then also give that meaningful work to your clients. Working with private and public gardens, which I know a lot of you are already doing, but again, thinking about taking a step further and doing some research projects together. Find some local state funding that can help you measure something. Again, you are a business and applying to different grants to help show that it's really important to elevate the value of the industry, but you need metrics. They're going to ask all kinds of different metrics. How many people are you serving? Did you take post and pre and post surveys to gather information, right? Really thinking about how we're elevating this industry and the profession is going to be very important as we continue to try to recruit more people to come into the industry. Think about workforce training centers that might be around you. And here are some that have that insight to horticultural therapy. But what if they don't? Maybe you help introduce that to them. Think about youth serving nonprofits. So Kids Gardening is for K through 12. It's across the country. They introduce students to gardens. They help teachers set up gardens in their school and give them curriculum. Imagine partnering with them to then talk about, yes, here's the planting of the gardens, but then let's think about the therapeutic aspect of what it looks like, right? And how this can help de-escalate a student when they're upset or right, that other piece that they are definitely not thinking about. They're thinking about it more on a nutrition side. We want students to eat healthier and know what they're eating and planting. But what is some of these other connections that can be made for the individuals to grow within their mental, physical, and emotional health? Junior Master Gardeners, it's out of Texas, but they also have educators across the country. Find those that are around you. FFA and 4-H. These students are more familiar with nature, the outdoors, and agriculture. But even when I talk to these students, they are not aware of all the different career paths that this industry has. And so making sure that they know this industry, this career, is going to be really important. Connecting with local college and universities, right? Connecting with those majors, psychology, sociology, speech pathology. Think of all of those majors or minors that are working in the healing space along with different organization and clubs at the school. So going and presenting to an event that the clubs might be having or inviting the clubs to come see you and at a private or public garden doing the actual work, right? The most that we can get in front of these students and show them the work that we're doing and how we're doing it, the better it's going to be for them to understand and see themselves in the industry. Think about healthcare organizations asking those doctors to prescribe this as medicine, as a way for people to heal sooner than later. Thinking about offering family engagement activities. So when they're there, again, through the medium of plants, how we can heal families and heal sooner than later. And the patient outcome, right? Showing that this works and encouraging more students to come into this industry. And I've heard over and over again, right? If you have a patient in a room that either can see into a garden or has plants and flowers in their room, they will recover quicker than someone that does not. Let's get that data, right? Let's get more of that in place. I already mentioned Green Career Week. So again, just kind of want to hone that in. We love to have you all connecting with one or two schools every year in your area to make sure that they understand that this is a career path. So a call to action for everyone here today. Find those experiential learning moments, right? Participating in Green Career Week, participating in different activities that the schools might have, whether it's a career fair or an outing, make yourself be present. Make these organizations be a part of the work that these schools are doing. That's the only way they are going to know we exist, right? Think about how can we get internships, apprenticeships for these high school and college students. The more they get hands-on again and get connected and see the value of the work that you're doing in this industry, the more then will sooner than later find that career. I talk to so many people that find these different segments of the horticulture industry by accident as a second career because someone talked them out of it. Can you imagine if we can get in front of these high school students, these college students, sooner than later so they find their forever industry sooner than later? That's what motivates me to get in front of so many students is because I know once they come into this industry, they're going to love what they do. You all love what you do and you do it for a reason, right? And let's get more of that next generation into this industry. And I would ask that you all connect me and Seed Your Future to at least two of the organizations in your network, right? The more that we can continue to make sure that more people are aware of all the free resources that we have for you to elevate horticulture as an industry, horticultural therapy, and all these resources, we can get more people to come into this industry. How to support Seed Your Future. We're a nonprofit, so we're always asking for donations. Follow us on social media, those hashtags in particular, share our resources, use our resources, and then volunteer. We have several different committees that we bring folks together and do work on whether it's raising awareness or planning some of our professional events for these teachers and students. So there's definitely different ways to get involved with Seed Your Future if you would like. And here is our website, seedyourfuture.org. I went through some of those resources. I didn't go through everything, but feel free to do some deep dive into the website, see more of the resources that we have. And again, I'm always available for questions and some one-on-one. So now I'm going to open it up to some questions, but here is my contact. Take a screenshot of that so you have my email address, my office, and my cell phone number. And thank you all for listening, and I can't wait to see what questions you have.
Jazmin, thank you so much. Per usual, I'm just now I want to make more changes and more changes to my organization's information and include this. I think it's so valuable because, when we were talking earlier about all of us, right? We love this industry. We've been working in it for a while, but we're not getting any younger. And fresh ideas, fresh minds, the opportunity for us to really start making those connections. I think you're bridging that gap. So thank you for doing that and doing what you do.
You're welcome.
Um, Pam Chance actually had a great comment that everyone should think about, and that is that Earth Day is coming up.
Mhm.
Is there an opportunity for all of us to be able to get the word out? Utilize the toolkits on the Seed Your Future website, but start thinking about, how we can encourage our youth in the community.
Mhm. That's a great idea.
Leslie had a comment, Jasmine. She was asking if you could identify some of the careers that we might not be as familiar with.
Well, on that list of 147, they range from, the scientists that are breeding the next generation of plants all the way to aquaponics, using fish to grow
Wow.
our plants. So yeah, check out that list of 147, and there are going to be many that you have never heard or even thought existed. And they range from artistic to those that are using drones, robotics to pick the plants, plant the plants, the automation, the software development that's needed so that these plants can grow in a timely fashion. And again, thinking about all those that are touching conservation.
Yeah, I mean, it's limitless. That's the thing we all need to think about.
Mhm.
Um, Leslie was also asking, what lesson plans are part of Seed Your Future resources that might be available to this group?
So there's two separate ones. Through the We Are Bloom, we have some that are specific to middle school students, and those are 6 different lessons that just talk about horticulture again within the environment, within the planet. And then we have the newer ones that I mentioned through Seed to STEM, 25 lessons that highlight a science subject. So it could be like DNA extraction, pH in water, or soil health. So you can go in there, download those, and you'll get all the 25 lessons, and then you can pick and choose which one. And these lessons are extensive. Some of them are 5 to 6 pages long, but you can just take nuggets from it, right? You don't have to incorporate the lesson as is, but maybe there's an activity that you can do from those. Maybe there are some questions that you can pull out into your own presentation when you're working with students. And so, yeah, check those lessons out and see what you might be able to glean from them. And we're hoping to have the ones from the 2025 Seed to STEM up by September of this year. So those that work touch on more on the art, the English, the math, just to have a variety of lessons that can help you all do this work. So sooner than later, those will be on there.
That's that's awesome. I mean, I think that that's just how all of us, I think, will be able to stretch ourselves and thinking about, you know, the differences of what we're currently doing versus what we can be doing in the future. So, one other question, and I think this is a great one. So, we've heard that Seed the Future is going to be working with AHTA. And we'd love to know what the initiative is, if there's anything you can share with us, and timelines and that sort of thing.
So one of those things is around that Seed to STEM program that I mentioned that's going to be in Chicago this year. We will be highlighting horticultural therapy as a career to these teachers. We're going to be connecting to those resources, the webinars that you're hosting. We're going to be sending those to our students, our teachers as well. So really just putting this career in front of students. And so when I'm there next week, we'll be doing some collaborating, thinking about what are some other tools that we can do for you all. And I know they are really trying to create a toolkit for you specifically to be able to participate in Green Career. So we'll be talking about what do those pieces look like to be able to help make sure that you have what you need in connecting with students moving forward.
And I'm sure that we will get a fabulous update at the next national meeting for sure.
For sure.
That's awesome. I did want to let you know that Patricia said, brilliant business niche, Jasmine. Thank you for your wonderful presentation and introducing us to Seed Your Future's resources. Her question, as a hiring HT, is there a job posting database that one can tap into on a local basis? So, for example, in the New York City metro area.
Mhm. I'm not sure on state to state, but think about what are some of those organizations that are doing work outdoors, work in nature, right? Like, what are some of those job boards that are out there through different organizations that have like newsletters that you could post your job in? Think about, again, those community colleges. They all will send out jobs to their students. Think about connecting with advisors at the career and technical schools, the community colleges as well, the universities. They're all trying to get their students into jobs. So find those contacts at those different locations, share it out. Nonprofits as well will share out garden centers. Again, these partners, these industry partners, they all have customers that are teachers. They might be, in different other careers that might want to come into this industry. And so it's that, right? Thinking about where these potential employees can be and connecting with partners that can share your job post with them.
Yeah, it's one thing to have a job, right? It's another thing to be able to figure out where to post it and get
You got to
people
get
to
creative.
respond. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
There's
Um,
another question here. Jasmine, do you have any tips on the best way and easier ways to spread the word, especially in areas that don't know anything about horticultural therapy or aren't familiar with the concept? Just any general ideas?
So, two, social media. Young people are on Instagram, LinkedIn, all these different ports. So, again, posting videos of you doing the work, videos of why you do it, how you do it, right? Telling the story of horticultural therapy is going to be important, and take it to where those students are, social media. The other thing, think about, again, we mentioned some of those youth serving organizations, the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the Girls and Boys organizations, YMCAs. Just literally create a list of what are all those youth serving organizations around you that you can connect with and make them aware of the profession. What does it take? What does it look like? And establishing a relationship so that you can do this at least twice a year. If you do it once, it's not going to work. Once a year is not enough for these students to remember the career. So it has to be something like, right, okay, so maybe helping them establish a garden, having them take the ownership, but then you work on introducing some of those meditation pieces, or the sit down and smell it and grow it, and what does it make you feel, and how can you talk through trauma as you're doing this, so that there's a different components of healing. So you're essentially like teach the teacher, right? Teach the teacher how to incorporate these segments and to see you as that professional that is bringing that resource to them, right? You are an expert in this. So make sure that they see you as that and know that you are a resource for them to be able to incorporate that into whatever work they're doing with young people or whatever audience might be yours, whether it's veterans or youth with disabilities or adults or whatever that might look like, right? It's just just connect your passion with that next generation that is also interested in that passion, right? You have a lot of psychology students that know they want to do trauma care. They know they want to do veteran. They know they whatever that is, right? So knowing that this is a place where they can come and start getting some of that hands-on experience, that's also really important to a lot of these students.
Yeah, interestingly enough, this semester we have had an occupational therapy student who was interning with us, and it does make a difference the way they see the world, but they recognize that plants will be part of how they treat um, their future patients and clients. But then they also bring sort of the research side, the survey side. They're there to actually see how we are moving the needle. So it's a little bit more clinical for us, different, and really exciting that it wasn't just, somebody saying, "Oh, I'm coming from such and such background, totally different." Loved
Mhm.
it. We'd love for you to put your contact info back up, Jazmin, if you can.
Yes. And I'll also pop in the chat several of these the links to the different resources.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know everyone should have seen Jessica posted the Seed Your Future website in the chat earlier. Oh, Pam has a great comment. She would also suggest collaborating with other integrative therapy practitioners, right? Art therapy, music therapy, equine, um, hippotherapy. That's a thing. Is that a thing, really? That's awesome.
It's equine.
Oh, that's what it's called? Not equine, huh? Love it. Yeah, Christina says, I can see OT involved with plants. For example, I will be receiving OT for a hand injury. I love working on hort skills during OT sessions. Absolutely. I'm much more likely to incorporate the lessons.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's great. Hippo and equine. Thank you for that. I learned something new today. One of many things, probably. Does anybody have any further questions or comments for Jazmin? Or something that you're working on that maybe you'd like to share and it might have a connection? All right. Oh, Jasmine's adding in all of these links to the chat, so make sure you click on them, bookmark them. Leslie says, thank you for including HT in your world.
You're welcome.
sharing HT with students, educators, and hort professionals. Absolutely. We are a mighty group for sure.
Right.
About
And
to
again,
get there.
it's a wonderful way for this next generation to see how they can combine. This can combine so many different components of from conservation to healing to plant. Like there's so much that these students want to be a part of, and to just being able to describe how you can meet so many different passions with this one career is going to be really important for them to see themselves here.
I love that you summarized it that way. In fact, one of the pieces of feedback I got from my occupational therapy student was everyone else is doing clinicals in a hospital, and some days she's planting, other days she's lugging around bulbs and delivering them to veterans' homes, and other days she's serving some of our veterans. So, her experience and the expanse that she's having versus her colleagues is wild.
It's so
We're on the
different.
good side of things.
Exactly.
um, well, Jazmin, thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks to everybody for attending. I just want to make sure there aren't any more questions. I know some people have had to jump off, but if there aren't, um, just a quick reminder, this is brought to you by the Florida Horticulture for Health Network and the Mid-Atlantic Horticultural Therapy Network. And you may want to join us Monday, April 14th at 3 p.m. EST. We will be talking about models of collaboration and the intersection of outdoor education, therapeutic horticulture, and horticultural therapy in a public school setting. So very appropriate to follow today's conversation. And that's going to be presented by Greg Stivlin and Hannah Ball-Damberg. So we do hope you'll join us. So for now, I guess we'll sign off. Thanks, everyone, and have a great afternoon.
Bye, everybody.